The outer edge of the Deltaris Reef Station was quiet that morning. The kind of quiet that made a person feel alone in a very big universe. Rook Calder, a human mechanic with messy hair and grease always on his hands, liked it that way. Silence meant nothing was broken. Silence meant he did not have to crawl into another overheated engine room. He was sitting in his small workshop, polishing a set of plasma cutters, when the alarm sounded. It was not a loud alarm. It was actually soft, just 3 short beeps. But Rook knew this type of alert did not activate unless something serious was happening. He placed the cutters down, wiped his hands on a rag, and walked over to the scanner console. A red blinking line crossed the screen. Incoming Mayday signal. Unknown vessel. Status sinking. Rook frowned. Sinking? In space? He muttered. But the console displayed coordinates pointing not to space, but to the ocean world below the station, Orellan 5, a deep blue planet filled with floating forests, glowing coral reefs, and miles-deep oceans that hid old secrets no explorer had mapped yet. The Mayday signal repeated, scratchy and weak. Help! Sinking! Can't break free! Rook tapped a few buttons trying to clean the audio. No luck. He checked the ship type. The system could not identify it. That alone was strange. The station usually recognized everything. Cargo ships, patrol vessels, science craft, even shady smugglers. He leaned closer. The scanner showed a long, curved hull half buried in the water. The vessel must have crash-landed and was now sliding into the deep trench nearby. Rook felt a chill. That trench was one of the most dangerous places on the entire planet. The locals called it the Endless Drop. Some said it went all the way to the core. He could alert the command deck. He could send the data and step aside. But Rook knew the truth. By the time a full rescue team prepared, the ship would be gone. His heart beat faster. He was just a mechanic, not a soldier, not a pilot, not a hero. But he had patched enough ships and repaired enough disasters to understand one simple fact. Someone down there needed help right now. He straightened up. Okay, he said to himself. Let's go save somebody. He grabbed his toolkit, threw it into his small personal skiff, and ran pre-launch checks. His skiff, Patch Runner, was tiny compared to military ships, but it was reliable, mostly because Rook fixed it every week. He strapped in, powered the engines, and pushed off from the station. Through the window, Orellan 5 glowed like a marble of blue glass. As he flew downward, clouds parted around him. Sparkling water extended in all directions, dotted with floating islands of silver-green plants. Mayday vessel, this is Mechanic Rook Calder of Deltaris Reef Station, he said into his communicator. I'm heading your way. Hold on. Static answered him. No voice, no sound, not even breathing. Rook swallowed. That silence felt heavy. He guided his skiff lower, the ocean surface approaching fast. Usually, he liked this part. Skimming across Orellan 5's calm waves made him feel free. But today, his stomach was tight. The sinking ship appeared at last, a huge, dark shape half-tilted in the water. Pieces of metal floated nearby, and strange symbols marked the sides. Rook did not recognize the symbols or the architecture. "Where are you from?" he whispered. As he circled, he noticed something stranger. The ship did not look damaged from a crash. There were chains all over the deck. Heavy chains meant for holding something very large. Rook landed his skiff on a flat metal section that had not yet sunk. The moment he stepped out, the ship groaned, metal bending under pressure from below. Water splashed high as another section disappeared under the waves. He rushed inside through a cracked entryway. The halls were dark, lit only by flashing red emergency panels. The air was humid and filled with the sharp smell of salt water. "Hello?" Rook called. "Anyone alive?" No answer. He moved carefully, checking corners, stepping over fallen beams. He scanned life sign readings. A faint pulse glowed far beneath the deck. "Someone's alive down there," he said, but he paused. The reading was huge. Not human, not any species he knew. His heartbeat picked up again. He thought for a moment, but curiosity and duty pushed him forward. He climbed down the emergency ladder to the lower cargo hold. The moment he entered the vast chamber, he froze. The life sign was not a person. It was a creature, a dragon, a real, living, massive dragon. Rook had heard myths of draconic species, rare, powerful beings living in upper atmospheres of gas giants or gliding through plasma storms, but he had never seen one with his own eyes. This one was huge, its blue-silver scales glowing even in the dim emergency lights. Its wings were folded tight, its long tail curled beneath it. But what struck Rook the most was not its size. It was the chains. Thick metallic restraints wrapped around the dragon's limbs and torso, connected to glowing devices embedded in the floor. The creature was held down, weakened by the heavy pull of the chains. Water was rising around it, and its breathing was slow but steady. Rook took a small step forward. The dragon's eyes, deep emerald green, opened and fixed on him. He froze, unsure whether to run or stay. But the dragon did not roar or thrash. It only looked at him with exhausted, almost pleading eyes. "You are human," it said softly, voice echoing like distant thunder. Rook blinked. A talking dragon. He had no training for this. Yes," he said awkwardly. "I'm Rook. I came to help." The dragon's eyes softened. "My name is Sareth." The ship shook violently. A support beam crashed down nearby. Rook jumped back. The hull was collapsing faster now. The cargo hold was flooding quickly. Sareth lowered his head. "Human Rook, I cannot free myself. The chains drain my strength. If the ship sinks further, I will sink with it." Rook looked at the chains. He walked closer and examined the locking mechanisms. They were made of advanced biotech, far beyond what most species used. They pulsed with a strange energy he had never seen. He tried his plasma cutter on one of the restraints. The beam touched the metal, sparked, then fizzled out. It did nothing. Rook hissed through his teeth. "Great, super chains, why not?" But he didn't give up. He checked his toolkit, searching for anything useful. The dragon watched him silently, eyes filled with tired hope. "You are not afraid of me," Sareth said. "I mean," Rook said, connecting two tools together. "Maybe a little. You're huge, and you talk, and you're a dragon. But honestly, being afraid isn't helpful right now." Sareth tilted his head slightly, almost amused. "Humans? Curious and brave." "More like reckless and stubborn," Rook corrected. He attached his sonic spanner to an amplifier, then linked it to the plasma cutter's power cell. The device hummed loudly. Rook aimed it at the chain's energy node. The ship groaned again. Water reached Sareth's lower chest. "Please hurry," Sareth said quietly. Rook nodded and activated the device. A piercing sonic pulse hit the chain. The glowing node flickered, crackled, then snapped open with a bright flash. One chain loosened. Sareth exhaled sharply, relief washing over his face. Rook grinned. "Yes, one down." He moved to the next chain and activated the device again. Another node snapped. The ship creaked dangerously, tilting even more. Rook's boots slid as the floor angled. He grabbed a pipe to keep balance. Water splashed up to his knees. "We don't have long," he shouted. "You must free the last restraints," Sareth urged. Rook crawled toward the final chain. His hands trembled, not from fear, but from the pressure of time running out. The ship groaned like a wounded creature. Everything around him shook. Rook steadied his tool, aimed at the last glowing node, and fired. The node resisted at first, flickering in and out. Sparks erupted. The tool overloaded with a loud pop. Rook gasped as the force pushed him back, landing him in the rising water. "No!" he shouted. "Not now!" He scrambled up, water now up to his waist. Sareth struggled weakly against the chain, unable to break free. Rook grabbed the broken tool, tore out the fried power cell, and dug through his toolkit. He found a smaller emergency generator. He wired everything together with shaking hands. The water rose to Sareth's shoulders. Rook did not stop. He couldn't. Someone was depending on him. He connected the wires, aimed again, and activated the new pulse. This time the node cracked open instantly. The final chain dropped away. Sareth's wings unfurled slightly, and the dragon lifted its head with new strength. "You did it," Sareth whispered. Rook let out a long breath. "Okay, now let's—" The ship lurched downward sharply. Entire beams snapped. Water surged in like a giant wave. "Time to go!" Rook yelled. Sareth spread his wings just enough to push upward. Rook grabbed onto a scale near Sareth's neck as the dragon moved toward the broken hull. The last thing Rook saw before they escaped the cargo hold was the ship sinking fast into the dark, endless trench below. Something deep inside that trench pulsed with a strange light. Something dangerous, something neither of them understood yet. The ocean around the sinking ship burst upward as Sareth pushed through the collapsing hull, wings slicing through swirling water. Rook clung tightly to the dragon's scales, feeling the powerful movement beneath him. Even weakened, Sareth was strong, far stronger than any creature Rook had ever seen. The moment they cleared the broken metal frame, the water pressure eased a little. But the ship continued to descend behind them, disappearing like a falling star into the darkness below. Rook looked over his shoulder. The vessel's last lights flickered once, twice, then vanished completely. Gone. He swallowed hard. They had escaped just in time. Sareth lifted his head above the surface, breaking through a layer of bright blue waves. Sunlight hit his wet scales, making them shimmer like polished silver. Rook coughed, gasping for air, and pushed soaked hair out of his eyes. "You okay, Humyn?" Sareth asked, voice softer than before. Rook wiped his face. "I'm fine. Just a little... almost drowned-ish." Sareth blinked slowly, clearly not used to human humor. "You saved my life. I am grateful." Rook scratched his cheek shyly. "Just doing the right thing. Most would not risk so much for someone they do not know." "Well," Rook said, trying to sound casual, "humans can be weird like that." They floated silently for a moment. Wind brushed the water. Seabirds circled above them. But then Sareth stiffened. His long ears twitched. "What's wrong?" Rook asked. Sareth turned slightly, gazing down into the deep, dark trench beneath them. His voice lowered. "There is something unusual happening below. Something dangerous." Rook followed his gaze, but saw only shifting blue shadows under the waves. "You mean the ship sinking?" "No." Sareth's eyes narrowed. "Something else. Something that was inside that ship." Rook frowned. "You knew what they were carrying?" "I sensed it. Even restrained, I could feel the energy. It is not alive, but it is powerful. And unstable." Rook's stomach tightened. "That's not great." "It is worse than not great," Sareth said calmly. "If it activates, the entire region could be at risk." Rook felt a wave of nervous heat rise in his chest. He didn't like mysteries, especially dangerous ones sinking into bottomless pits. "Do you know what the device is?" Sareth shook his large head. "Not exactly, but I know it affects gravity." Rook blinked. "Gravity?" "Yes, and gravity is not something that should be played with." Rook exhaled slowly. He understood machines. He understood engines, plasma cutters, and hull plates. But gravity? That was far above his pay grade. And yet somehow he had stepped into a problem involving a dragon, an alien ship, and a mysterious gravity device at the bottom of a hostile ocean. "Okay," Rook said. "Let's get back to my skiff before something else explodes." Sareth nodded and swam through the water with smooth, steady movements. Eventually, the little skiff Patch Runner came into view, bobbing crookedly on the waves. Rook had left it anchored, but it clearly didn't enjoy the chaos that had just passed. Rook climbed onto the skiff and immediately checked the systems. The exterior was fine. The interior was damp but working. Good enough. Sareth rested his head near the side of the skiff, his eyes tired but alert. "You should return to your station. Warn your people." "Yeah," Rook said. "I will." He reached for the communicator. "Deltaris Reef Station, this is Rook Calder. I have a situation—" Static. Rook frowned and tried again. More static. "No signal?" he muttered. "Why now?" Sareth looked toward the horizon. "The energy from the device may already be interfering." Rook groaned. "Great. Just great. As if almost drowning wasn't enough." Sareth tilted his head. "You humans complain in amusing ways." Rook gave a weak smile. "Thanks, I think." But before he could try the communicator again, the calm sea shifted. The waves grew taller, rising and falling in strange patterns. The skiff rocked sharply. Rook grabbed the console to steady himself. "Whoa, Sareth, is this normal?" "No," Sareth answered slowly. "The ocean is reacting." "To what?" Sareth stared down into the trench again. "To it." A deep rumbling sound echoed through the water. Not loud, but heavy, like the ocean exhaling. The surface vibrated slightly. Rook felt it through his boots. "Okay," he said nervously. "That's not friendly." Suddenly, a whirlpool began forming several meters away. It grew quickly, pulling water in a circular motion. Rook's eyes widened. "That's a vortex. But the readings don't make sense. There's no wind, no current. Nothing should cause this." Sareth's voice deepened. "The device." The whirlpool expanded. Waves around the skiff pulled inward, dragging the small vessel closer. Rook jumped into the pilot seat and powered the engines. "Not today, Ocean Vacuum! Patch Runner, move!" The skiff strained forward, engines whirring loudly. Slowly, painfully, it pushed away from the whirlpool's pull. Sareth followed alongside, using his wings to cut through the water and push forward, but even he struggled. "This force," Sareth said, "is not natural." "No kidding," Rook replied. After a tense few minutes, they finally escaped the pull. The whirlpool calmed, shrinking until it was once again part of the ordinary ocean. But both Rook and Sareth knew the danger hadn't passed. It had only started. Rook caught his breath and turned to the dragon. "We need to tell the station. This thing is messing with the whole ocean." Sareth nodded. "I will help you." "You can fit inside my skiff, right?" Sareth blinked. "Human, Rook?" "I am a dragon." Rook paused. "Right. So, no." Sareth lowered his head. "But I can fly. I was weakened by the chains, but now that they are broken, I will recover. I can follow you from the air." "Good," Rook said, relieved. He started the skiff engines and began lifting into the air. As the skiff rose, Sareth beat his wings and followed, water streaming from his scales. The sky opened around them. From this height, Orellan 5 looked peaceful again. Blue waves rolled gently beneath them, hiding the danger below, but then the communicator crackled. Rook Calder? Can you hear—" Rook nearly jumped. "Deltaris Station, I hear you. I'm here." Static. Then the voice returned. "Rook, readings from your coordinates. Something wrong with the ocean. Are you—" The signal cut off again. Rook slammed the console gently. "Come on, work." "Calm," Sareth said from above. "The interference is growing." "Yeah, that's the problem." They flew in silence for a moment. The outpost was still far, just a small speck near the horizon. Sareth spoke again, voice thoughtful. "Rook, do you know why they chained me?" Rook blinked. He hadn't asked. "No. What happened?" "They captured me when I was resting in the upper skies of another world. I sensed danger inside their ship. I tried to warn them, but they did not listen. They restrained me instead. Perhaps they feared I would break their cargo. Rook frowned. So they didn't want anyone interfering? Yes. Because of that device? Yes. Rook let out a breath. Then whatever that thing is, they knew it was dangerous. Very dangerous. Sareth looked ahead. If it continues to activate, the ocean may not be the only thing affected. Rook felt cold despite the warm sun. Meaning? Gravity does not obey borders, Sareth said slowly. If it grows stronger, the planet will feel it. Maybe even the moons. Maybe the station. Rook stared ahead at the distant outpost. Then we need help. Fast. They flew toward the station as quickly as they could. Clouds moved around them, sunlight flickered on the waves below, and the ocean's surface shimmered with strange ripples hinting at the power building in the depths. Rook gripped the controls tighter. Something terrible was happening beneath Orellan 5, and he feared that Part 1, the escape, had been the easy part. Rook pushed the Patch Runner's engines to their limit as the small skiff rose higher into the sky. Sareth flew beside him, wings wide and shimmering under the sunlight. The ocean below looked peaceful again, too peaceful. The earlier whirlpool had left no trace. Only a smooth, endless blue surface remained, hiding the truth like a giant secret. But Rook could feel it. Something was building under those waves, something powerful. He kept glancing at the scanner screen. No normal readings were appearing. Instead, the scanner showed flashing symbols and confused numbers. It was like the device didn't understand what it was sensing. "Great," Rook muttered. "Even my scanner's freaking out." Sareth glided closer, casting a long shadow over the skiff. "The device is waking," the dragon said softly. "Its energy is spreading." "Well, it picked a really bad time," Rook replied. "I haven't even eaten breakfast." Sareth blinked. "Is breakfast important?" "It's very important," Rook said. "Humans need food for bravery." Sareth tilted his head. "You performed bravery earlier on an empty stomach?" "Yeah," Rook admitted. "So imagine how scary I am when I've had toast." Sareth let out a soft rumble that might have been a laugh. Rook smiled. Even in danger, jokes helped him breathe easier. But the light mood faded as the station came into view. Deltaris Reef Outpost. A ring-shaped structure hovering above the water, held up by anti-grav stabilizers. Normally bright and calm, its exterior lights were now flickering. The closer they flew, the clearer the problem became. The station was shaking. Rook's stomach dropped. He gripped the controls tightly. "That's not normal." Sareth looked concerned. "The gravity waves are reaching the atmosphere." "Which means," Rook asked nervously, "your station is being pulled." Rook almost choked. "Pulled? By what? The ocean?" "By the device," Sareth said. "Gravity does not care where something is. It reaches everything." Rook swallowed. Hard. "We need to dock." He guided the skiff to the landing pad and touched down gently. Sareth landed beside him with a thud that shook the platform. Rook jumped out and ran toward the access doors, but they didn't slide open. He pressed the button again. Nothing. "Great," he said. "Power's unstable." Sareth stepped forward. "Allow me." With surprising gentleness, the dragon tapped the side of the door with his claw. The metal bent just enough for Rook to slip through. Inside, lights flickered from white to red. Panels blinked. Alarms beeped softly, not loud but insistent, like the station was whispering, "Something is very wrong." Rook hurried to the main control hub. 2 officers inside were typing fast, and screens around them showed a storm of confused data. "Rook!" Commander Vela called when she saw him. "Your skiff's signal vanished for almost an hour. What happened?" Rook opened his mouth to speak, but then paused awkwardly. How did he explain rescued a dragon from a sinking ship with a gravity bomb in simple words? Before he could try, Sareth's large head appeared through the doorway. Every officer froze. One dropped his tablet. Vela's expression shifted from confusion to shock to almost fainting. "Rook," she whispered, "is that a dragon?" Rook scratched the back of his neck. Yes. This is Sareth. He's friendly." Sareth bowed his head politely. "I bring no harm." Vela blinked several times. Why is there a dragon at my station?" "We have a problem," Rook said quickly. "A big one." Vela's eyes narrowed. "Explain." Rook took a deep breath and told them everything. Finding the ship, freeing Sareth, the strange chains, the deep trench, the whirlpool, and the device that manipulates gravity. By the time he finished, Vela looked pale. "You're telling me," she said slowly, "that a dangerous gravity core is at the bottom of the endless drop. And it's waking up?" Sareth stepped forward. "It is more than waking. It is calling to the planet's gravity. And the planet is responding." The station rumbled again as if agreeing with him. A few loose items slid across the floor. Rook grabbed the edge of a console. "See? This isn't normal." Vela studied the data on her screen. "Our anti-grav stabilizers are working overtime. If the pull increases, the station could sink." "Sink?" one officer stammered. "This station floats," another officer whispered in disbelief. "How do you sink something that floats?" Sareth answered softly. "By pulling hard enough." Rook shivered. "So what do we do? Turn off the device? Destroy it?" Sareth looked at him. "Humans cannot simply turn off such a thing. The device is not like a switch. It reacts to energy and water, and underwater it becomes unpredictable." "Well, that's not helpful," Rook muttered. Sareth dipped his head. "I am sorry. I wish the answers were simpler." Vela paced. "We need more information. Rook, can your scanner detect the device?" Rook shook his head. "It's too unstable. The readings are scrambled." "Then we need to send someone down there," Vela said. Rook stared at her. "Into the trench? Again? You've already been once." "Exactly. And it was terrible." But despite his fear, part of him knew she was right. Someone had to see what was happening. Someone had to stop the device. And Rook knew the station didn't have many volunteers for gravity-defying ocean danger missions. Sareth stepped closer. "I will go with you." Rook looked up at him. "You'll go back down there?" "Yes," Sareth answered. "It is my responsibility, and your bravery has not gone unnoticed. I would not let you face this alone." For a moment, Rook felt something warm in his chest. It wasn't pride. It wasn't fear. It was partnership. A feeling he had only ever read about in adventure stories, where humans and mythical beings work together. Vela nodded firmly. "Prepare your skiff. I'll send what power reserves we have to your diving systems. And Rook." "Yes, Commander?" "Be careful. If this device grows stronger, it might not stop with the ocean. It could pull down satellites, stations, even ships in orbit." Rook felt the weight of her words. "Then we'll stop it." He hurried back outside. Sareth followed, wings folded close to his body. The sky above them had dimmed, even though it wasn't evening yet. Strange gray rings swirled slowly above the trench far in the distance. Gravity waves. He had never seen anything like it. Rook climbed into the patch runner and ran a quick check. Systems looked stable enough for one more risky mission. Sareth lowered his body so Rook could see him easily. "Human Rook," the dragon said, "before we fly again, I must tell you something." Rook paused. "What is it?" Sareth's emerald eyes glowed faintly. "When I was inside the ship, I heard a message, not spoken, but felt." "A message?" "Yes, a signal." It repeated one phrase. Rook leaned closer. "What phrase?" Sareth's wings tightened nervously, something Rook hadn't seen before. "It said, Sareth whispered. Phase 1 complete. Gravity core awakening. Rook's heart nearly jumped out of his chest. Phase 1? You mean there are more phases? Sareth nodded slowly. I fear this device was not meant just to sink a ship. It was meant to reshape something, maybe the ocean itself. Rook sat back, stunned. We need to hurry. He started the engines. The hum felt deeper now, like the world itself was vibrating. Sareth took flight beside him. Together they rose into the air and turned toward the trench. Far below, the ocean surface shimmered strangely. A faint circular pattern, like a spinning halo, had appeared where the ship had sunk. Rook tightened his grip on the controls. The dangerous event was no longer beginning. It was already in motion, and whatever Phase 2 was, they were running out of time to stop it. The patch runner raced across the sky, cutting through cold winds as it approached the distant trench. Sareth flew beside the skiff, wings steady, his body glowing faintly with renewed strength. The sun shone above them, but the light seemed strangely dim near the trench, as if the sky itself didn't want to get too close. Rook felt the controls vibrate under his hands, not from the skiff's engines, but from the world around them. Even the air felt heavier. How close are we? Rook asked. Sareth looked down at the swirling circular pattern on the water's surface. We are almost above the heart of the disturbance. Rook squinted at the scanner. It flickered with wild readings that made no sense. Numbers appeared, vanished, then reappeared as different numbers. A red warning flashed on the main screen. Gravity fluctuation detected. Rook laughed nervously. Thanks, scanner. I definitely didn't notice. The ocean below churned in a slow, unnatural rotation. The water wasn't crashing violently, it was moving calmly but impossibly, like a giant bowl being stirred by invisible hands. The motion was hypnotic, both beautiful and disturbing. Sareth's eyes narrowed. The device has awakened. Its influence is stronger than before. Rook swallowed. So this is Phase 2? I believe so, Sareth replied. Rook hovered the skiff a few meters above the ocean. Okay, new plan. We need to stop the device. We need to, I don't know. Turn it off, break it, unplug it, something. Sareth lowered his head. It is not simple, Rook. The core is reacting to water. The deeper it goes, the stronger it becomes. If it reaches a certain point, the pull may spread across the planet. Rook rubbed his forehead. Right. So we can't wait. We have to go down there. Sareth looked at him with calm seriousness. We go together. Rook nodded. Yeah. Together. He engaged the patch runner's underwater mode. The transparent shield slid over the cockpit, sealing it. Blue lights flickered as the engines shifted to aquatic propulsion. Rook took a deep breath. Here we go again. The skiff slipped beneath the surface, and Sareth dove beside it. The world instantly turned blue and silent. Only soft hums and distant vibrations echoed through the water. They descended deeper and deeper. Schools of glowing fish darted away from them. Thick seaweed waved like watery forests. Strange coral towers rose from the ocean floor, pulsing with gentle bioluminescence. If this wasn't horribly dangerous, Rook whispered, I'd say it's beautiful. Sareth's voice echoed through the skiff's communicator. Oralon 5 is known among dragons for its beauty. Many come here for peace. Well, not today, Rook muttered. The water around them grew darker as they approached the edge of the endless drop trench. The sunlight faded, replaced by dim blue glimmers from deep below. Then Rook saw it, the trench, a massive dark canyon stretching endlessly downward like a mouth swallowing the ocean. The swirling gravity waves made the edges of the trench shimmer like heat haze. Rook felt his stomach twist. That looks very deep. It is, Sareth said gently, but we must continue. Rook breathed out slowly. Okay, down we go. The patch runner entered the trench. Sareth followed closely, his long body moving with elegant precision, despite the increasing gravitational pull. The deeper they descended, the stronger the pull became. The skiff rattled. The water pressure increased. Strange currents tugged at them from unpredictable directions. Rook's fingers tightened around the controls. "Patch runner, don't fall apart on me." Sareth's wings folded close to his body. "Stay calm, Rook. Fear makes the pull seem stronger." Rook laughed shakily. "Fear makes everything seem stronger." They descended another few hundred meters, and then the scanner briefly stabilized. A glowing shape appeared on the display, pulsing rhythmically. "The device," Rook whispered. A bright white light shone from below. The light flickered in delicate pulses, like the heartbeat of a giant machine. The water around it shimmered, bending unnaturally. Gravity ripples spread outward in visible waves, warping the surroundings. Rook slowed the skiff. "There it is." Sareth hovered beside him, eyes focused. "It is growing. Its energy field has expanded." Rook stared at the device. It was spherical, about the size of a small house, covered in smooth metallic plates. Strange carvings glowed along its surface. Some plates were open, exposing the internal core, a swirling mass of white-blue light spinning slowly. "So this is what those aliens were carrying," Rook said. "What is it supposed to do?" "I do not know," Sareth answered, "but I sense its purpose was not peaceful." Rook leaned forward. "We need to stop it." "Yes," Sareth said, "but with care. If we destroy it wrongly, we may cause something worse." "Worse than this?" Rook asked. "Gravity can be unpredictable," Sareth said gently. Rook stared at the device again. His mind raced. He was just a mechanic. He didn't have training for ancient alien gravity cores, but he did have something else. Improvisation. Humans were good at that. "Okay," he said, making a decision. "Sareth, can you get close to it?" Sareth hesitated. "The field may weaken me again." "But you can reach it physically," Rook said. "You're strong. Strength may not matter against gravity." Rook tapped the skiff's console. "I have an idea, a crazy one." Sareth's eyes narrowed. "Human crazy or truly dangerous crazy?" Rook smiled weakly. "Both." Sareth sighed softly. "Explain." Rook pointed at the device. "That thing has an energy spin, like a reactor about to overload. If we can disrupt that spin with a shock, just enough to force a reset, it might shut itself down." Sareth studied the device carefully. "How?" Rook tapped the skiff's battery indicator. "Patch runner's engines store extra power for emergency boosts. If we build a charge, then release it all at once near the device." "It will react," Sareth finished. "Hopefully in a good way." Sareth looked at him. "And if it reacts in a bad way?" Rook shrugged. "Then we improvise harder." Sareth's eyes glowed with admiration. "Humans are strange, but brave." Rook grinned. "Strange bravery is our specialty." He positioned the skiff closer to the core. The water shook gently as gravity waves pulsed around them. Rook activated the charge buildup. The skiff hummed loudly. Lights flickered inside the cockpit. Sareth stayed beside him, wings folded tight. "Tell me when." "Almost," Rook whispered. "Almost." The charge meter reached maximum. Rook grabbed the release toggle. "Now!" He slammed it forward. The patch runner released a burst of bright blue energy toward the device. The water lit up with shimmering light. The core reacted instantly. Its spinning slowed, then quickened in confusion. Light flickered across its plates. For a moment, everything was quiet. Rook held his breath. Then the core pulsed. A massive wave of gravity energy exploded outward. The patch runner shook violently. Rook was thrown back in his seat. Sareth spiraled for a moment, wings snapping open to stabilize himself. "Rook!" Sareth called. "I'm okay!" Rook shouted. "I think!" The device pulsed again, this time more softly. The spinning slowed. The light dimmed. The gravity waves weakened. Rook stared in disbelief. It's working." Sareth looked relieved. "You did it, Rook." Rook let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. "We actually did it." But then the scanner beeped. A new warning appeared. Core reset. Initiated Phase 3. Preparation wave expansion incoming. Rook's eyes widened. "Phase 3?" Sareth's wings stiffened. "It is not done." The device began glowing brighter again, far brighter than before. The water around them shimmered as if boiling without heat. Rook felt a deep vibration through his bones. Sareth spoke quietly, voice heavy. "The core will release a final surge." Rook stared at the rising light. "How big?" he asked. Sareth did not look away. "Big enough to reach the surface." Rook's heart pounded. "Then we need a new plan." "Yes," Sareth said softly. "A plan humans are known for." Rook nodded slowly. "Improvised heroism?" "Exactly," Sareth replied. Together they faced the rising glow of the awakening core, and they prepared to attempt something even crazier than before. The glowing sphere at the bottom of the trench brightened until the entire underwater canyon looked like a second sun had formed beneath the sea. Rook shielded his eyes even inside the patch runner. The water vibrated around him like the entire ocean was humming in warning. Sareth hovered beside the small skiff, wings stretched wide to balance himself against the unstable pull. His normally calm emerald eyes were glowing with concern. "Rook," Sareth said quietly. "The core is preparing its final surge. The release will push outward in all directions." Rook swallowed. "Meaning the trench, the ocean, the floating reefs, even the station?" "Yes," Sareth finished gently. "If nothing is done, everything above us will be affected." Rook felt cold, but fear didn't freeze him. It only sharpened his thoughts. If humanity had any talent, it was thinking fast under pressure. He looked at the patch runner's blinking console, then up at Sareth. "Okay," Rook said, speaking more to himself at first. "We need a shock, a big one, big enough to cancel the surge before it grows." Sareth tilted his head. "What kind of shock?" Rook suddenly smiled. Not a calm smile, an idea smile. The kind he had when something crazy but possible formed in his mind. Sareth noticed immediately. "You have a plan." "Yeah, kind of." Rook pointed upward. "The sky." "The sky?" Sareth blinked. "Yes. You said dragons gather energy from the upper atmosphere, right?" Sareth nodded slowly. "Correct. Our bodies can charge with natural energy from the high air, especially where lightning forms." Rook tapped the skiff's controls. "And my skiff can hold a large power charge. If you and the patch runner gather as much energy as possible, then release it all at once directly into the core. We could disrupt the surge before it expands." Sareth considered this. "A controlled detonation of energy?" "Exactly. But," Sareth added thoughtfully, "we must go high, very high, enough to build a strong charge. Then we must dive fast." Rook nodded. "Fast enough to beat the surge." Sareth stretched his wings. "It is possible." Rook grinned. "Then let's do something impossible." Sareth gave a soft, rumbling laugh. "Human bravery never stops surprising me." Rook prepared the patch runner. "And dragon teamwork is pretty impressive, too." They turned away from the glowing core and rose quickly through the water. As they ascended, the pressure lessened. The blue world brightened. Soon they broke through the ocean's surface with a loud splash. The sky above was swirling with strange clouds. Gravity waves made long, thin spirals in the air, bending the atmosphere like soft glass. Rook stared upward. "The core is already affecting the sky." "Then we must hurry," Sareth said. With a powerful beat of his wings, Sareth shot into the sky. Rook followed in the skiff, pushing the engines to full output. They rose higher and higher, past the low clouds, past the bright glare of the sun reflecting off the water, and into the cold, thin air where stars were faintly visible even in daytime. The air buzzed lightly. Sereth's wings glowed faint blue. Lines of light traced across his scales. The dragon closed his eyes, drawing energy into his body. Rook felt the patch runner respond. Collecting atmospheric static into its emergency battery, the console lights shined brighter. "How much charge do we need?" Rook asked over the communicator. "More," Sereth answered calmly. The sky around them flickered with shimmer waves. The natural energy of the upper atmosphere gathered to them, attracted to Sereth's presence and the skiff's systems. Rook looked at the battery gauge. It climbed to 40%, then 60%. "We're almost there," he whispered. Sereth opened his eyes. "Rook." "Yeah?" "When we dive, stay close to me. The slipstream around my body will help you survive the speed." Rook laughed nervously. "I'll try not to fall behind." The meter passed 80%. Sereth's wings glowed brighter, now glowing like sunlight through water. His entire body seemed charged with power. The patch runner chimed. "Emergency battery at maximum capacity." Rook exhaled. "Okay, we're ready." Sereth turned his head toward him. "Follow my dive exactly. Do not hesitate." "I won't." Sereth inhaled deeply. The air around him shimmered. "Then we begin." The dragon folded his wings slightly and angled downward. Then he dove. Rook pressed the controls and followed. The air rushed past them in a roaring wave. The world blurred. Clouds streaked around them like silver smoke. The sky darkened behind them as they dropped. They fell faster and faster, Sereth cutting through the air like a falling comet, Rook trailing within the slipstream. Every second brought them closer to the ocean, closer to the glowing trench below. Rook gripped the controls so tightly his knuckles went white. His stomach felt like it had taken a vacation somewhere far above. "We're getting close!" Rook shouted. Sereth didn't respond. He was fully focused. The ocean surface rushed toward them. Sereth opened his wings at the last moment, angling his body. Rook followed perfectly, the patch runner gliding just above the waves. They hit the water in a smooth but powerful plunge. Light exploded around them. Trails of bubbles spiraled as they shot downward like underwater meteors. The core's glow grew brighter and brighter. "Almost there!" Rook yelled. Sereth's voice was steady and strong. "Release the energy when I say." The sphere pulsed, preparing its final surge. Light burst outward like slow lightning. Rook's chest tightened. "Sereth, now!" the dragon roared. Rook slammed the release lever. Sereth opened his wings wide, releasing all the stored energy from his body. The patch runner and Sereth both discharged massive bursts of pure atmospheric charge into the core. Two streams of bright light, one blue-white from the skiff, one shimmering silver from Sereth, struck the core in the same moment. The water around them flashed. The core reacted instantly, its plates twisting in confusion. The glowing sphere warped, shrinking and expanding like it couldn't decide what shape to hold. A sound echoed through the trench, not loud, but deep, like the planet exhaling. Then, light burst outward one last time, but it wasn't violent, it wasn't destructive, it was peaceful. A soft wave spread across the ocean. The gravity distortions faded. The swirling trench patterns calmed. The shimmering rings in the atmosphere disappeared. The core dimmed, then powered down completely. The pulsing light vanished. Rook turned to Sereth, breath shaking. We did it." Sereth smiled. Actually smiled. "Yes, together." Rook looked up as bubbles drifted gently toward the surface. The danger was gone. The ocean was quiet again. For the first time since the Mayday signal, the world felt normal. They slowly rose back to the surface. When they broke through the water, the sky was blue again. The sun was warm, unbent by strange gravity waves. Rook leaned back in his seat, exhausted, and relieved. I can't believe it worked. You believed, Sareth corrected gently. That is why it worked. Vela's voice crackled across the communicator. Rook, Rook, come in. The gravitational waves stopped. What did you do? Rook laughed. A little human improvisation. And a lot of dragon help. There was silence. Then Vela said with awe, Return to the station, both of you. When they arrived, the entire outpost gathered to greet them. People stared at Sareth with amazement, but no fear. Children waved at him, adults thanked him. Scientists recorded data that made their hands shake with excitement. Sareth bowed respectfully. I thank your people for the welcome. Rook stepped beside him. He saved the planet. He deserves it. Vela smiled. This event, it will be remembered for generations. Sareth looked at Rook. Human and dragon working together. Rook nodded. A new alliance. Sareth lowered his head. I would be honored to call you my friend, Rook Calder. Rook grinned widely. Same here, Sareth. The dragon spread his wings, shining bright in the sunlight. And across the galaxy, the story began to spread. The mechanic who saved a drowning dragon, and the dragon who helped save a world. A new legend, a new alliance, a reminder of what humans do best. Turn the impossible into victory.